good evening, everyone. Regardless of where you're joining us from, we are thrilled that you are here. I'm Kelsey Klima. I am the University Relations Manager here at Signet Jewelers. Thank you again for joining us this evening, and hopefully you're going to get to learn a little bit more, not only about Signet, but also the Signet experience by connecting and meeting with some of our former interns. And so for now, I'd actually like you to meet them. So I'll turn it over to them.
Hi, my name is Ali Selznick. I attend James Madison University in Virginia, and my major is hospitality management. And I have two minors, one in creative writing and one in general business. My title with Signet was the Business Support Services Meetings and Incentives Intern, basically an events intern. And my core responsibilities included attending meetings, event brainstorming, building registration pages, giveaways, surveys, transportation, rooms and grounds lists, and being on site during those events.
Hey everyone, my name is Joey. I'm a senior information systems and marketing double major at the University of Maryland, College Park. I was an IT audit intern. So basically I worked to go through a couple of projects and work with our IT security team to make sure that a lot of the programs that we were working with were operating effectively and not under any security breaches.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel. I'm a communication design major with a focus on UX at Parsons School of Design up in New York. I was a digital product intern, and some of my responsibilities were collecting and analyzing product and consumer insights to develop internal strategy and product roadmap for user stories, and also just leading cross-functional teams to identify friction points and key areas of opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you again to Ali, Rachel, and Joey for joining us today. I already saw a question pop up in the Q&A, Ali, where someone is interested in the event internship opportunity, obviously, and what that entails. So Ali, would you actually mind just talking about that a little bit more and some of your experiences within that?
Sure. So for the whole summer, I was mostly remote, kind of hybrid. When we had events, as in like the Puerto Rico incentive trip, I was on site during that. I was also on site during some other trips, like the incentive trip to St. Jude, which was in Memphis, Tennessee, and then working some in Dallas, some business meetings type things. A lot of my days consisted of lots of meetings, and then lots of times my manager, Amy, would assign me tasks, and I would kind of go through those every day. I would have to decide which was most important, and a lot of times it was on my own, which was really nice to kind of grow and learn, but Amy and the team were there for me if I needed them. And then being on site was absolutely amazing. I loved traveling and getting to know all of the attendees every single time, and everyone at Signet was so warm and welcoming from the day I started.
Thanks, Ali. I kind of want to continue on that thought process, obviously talking about projects. So Joey, can you tell us about some of the projects that you worked on?
Yeah, definitely. So the main project that I was working on throughout my internship experience was our cloud security audit. So in the Signet environment, there were 7 different tools that we were using to basically, complete a lot of different functions, whether it was storing information or, getting information back and forth between the on-premises and the online environments. So we went through and we audited those 7 different tools to make sure that they were following all of Signet's policies. So things like was two-factor authentication involved, who was actually given access to the different databases, making sure that if people switched roles or if they left the company, that they were removed from the database, that kind of thing, just to make sure that we were doing that. And towards the end of my internship, we started an incident response audit, which was basically going through the policy that was put into place, what to do when an incident occurs with a security breach or something like that in an IT system. But I didn't get to work a whole lot on that one because my internship ended right when that one started. So.
Awesome. Rachel, were there any type of projects that you were specifically working on?
Yeah, so for my main summer project, we were working on elevating the gifting experience just because I was on the delivery product team. Mainly just improving and elevating key touch points throughout the gifting journey to satisfy user needs. So we were working on creating new features for more seamless and personable customer journey experience on all the banner sites from checkout to delivery. So a lot of it consisted of, like Ali, a lot of meetings, during a lot of feature refinements, doing backlog, and it was really great just because I was able to work with stakeholders, developers, and designers.
Awesome. everyone is asking so many incredible questions in the Q&A. And actually one that I think I can answer here live is really, how is the internship program built up? And so that's actually something that we have been continuously working on here at Signet. And so the three that you're meeting here today for this roundtable were actually in our first group of interns that we had dedicated for a program. And so 2022 was our first year where we actually kicked off a formalized internship program, of which we had roughly anywhere throughout the time of the year 19 to 21 interns with us. Now, looking forward at 2023, we're estimating at 45 plus. And so while our program is smaller, you're not one of thousands of interns, it's definitely one of an opportunity where there is a lot of synergy and focus right now around emerging talent across the entire business. So obviously meeting these three today, it's not just focused on a jewelry opportunity or a merchandising track. Obviously retail, you have to staff different parts of your business. And so all of our internships that we're offering are all corporate based. So I hope that helps answer your question. Oh my goodness, there are so many great questions coming in here. But one of the things that I love that we have chatted on really here already was working remotely. And so Rachel, I would kind of love to know, what did you find that were the benefits of working remotely?
Yeah, so working remotely, I found it beneficial just getting to learn how to be proactive and taking initiative to set up. I didn't work directly with the other product management interns, so it was all about taking responsibility, and the first step to set up bi-weekly intern team meetings to talk about the different projects that we're all working on, sharing any personal program goals that we've achieved, and sharing resources on learning more about the PM role. Also, just like these sessions here, we were able to volunteer and participate in these sessions for all the Signet interns. I think there was one, the Gen Z panel with Jeff York, where we were all participating and got to answer questions that were a little bit more personal in front of researchers. So it felt like we were really able to see like an inside scoop of each other's lifestyles, despite being remote when we're answering, and just all about storytelling about the objects that can hold like such sentimental value to our lives regarding jewelry.
For me, I was the only intern in my department, and so a lot of my time was spent with the three team members that I had, Amy, Elise, and Christy, who are a lean team, and they are amazing at what they do. They put on all of these events and spend whole year planning them. And the times, like Rachel said, I interacted a lot with the other interns during those meetings, which was awesome. And we'd have little moments where we could all ask questions to other important people within the company, and that was a really cool part of the program I liked.
Yeah, and for me, it was a very similar, experience. We had a lot of different intern opportunities to meet with all the other interns. I also was the only intern in my department over the summer. But despite that, you do get to work with so many different individuals. I got to work with, I have my manager and then other employees that are working on the same projects with me, as well as individuals from other departments when we were doing walkthroughs to find out more information about things that we might not know too well from our own department. So even though it is remote, you are meeting with so many people at so many different times during the day. And also there were meetings on Fridays to get to know everyone and stuff like that. So there are so many opportunities to, meet those people in the virtual environment.
Yeah. One of the questions that I keep seeing kind of pop up here in this chat, and I think that I can address this live for some that do have some questions around this, is around, if you're recently graduating, do you want to apply for an internship, or is, an entry-level role best fit for you? And, I can answer this here in a couple of different ways. I want to clear this out so I know that I'm addressing your questions. But when it comes to if you're a graduate or you're a recent graduate within the past year, or even when you're graduating, hey, up until May of 2023, we're actually launching our first early career program. And so we are launching early career programs across the board in 4 different areas. And so they may be a better fit for you. So those early career programs are spanning across supply chain, finance, human resources, and our digital organization. So more tech driven, looking for that digital mindset. And so with that, look for those opportunities to be live probably no later than, I'm going to say, the end of next week. So probably 120 or at the latest 123, those positions will be live and available on Way Up. So if you have obviously any questions or if you're really interested in them, obviously get a hold of me, apply to any opportunity. But again, just to kind of address those questions when it comes to, if you're a recent grad or an upcoming grad, those would be better opportunities for you. As when it comes to an internship, one of our requirements is you do have to be actively enrolled in pursuing your undergraduate degree in order for you to be qualified for that internship opportunity. So I hope that helps answer that. Allie, one thing that, I also saw kind of pop up here in the questions is really kind of, an interest in your role. And so, what eventually encouraged you to apply and accept the role here at Signet?
So I feel like my story is kind of a cool one. My junior year, I applied to be a part of the James Madison University Alumni Association student chapter, which had just been restarted and revamped. And I was accepted. And so one of our first things was this meeting with the board of directors. And it's about 24 people sit on the board of directors for the school. And one of those is Bill Luth. And so he's one of the execs. And we did a speed round kind of networking thing. And so I had 5 minutes with him and I was talking with him and didn't really, see much of an interest because I didn't know what he, really did. And then we were talking and he was like, so what's your end goal? And I told him corporate events. And he was like, well, I have the woman for you to talk to. And so he set me up with Amy Faber, and she's the director of the events team. And so she and I started with informational interviews, just me really trying to learn about what she does, what her career's been like, what Signet does, since I had not much knowledge on Signet as a whole. And so that kind of turned into her being interested in me, and they asked me to come with them to Puerto Rico and work their incentive trip. And so that was 10 days long, and that was in May. And so I accepted that. And then they created the internship program and created one for the business support services team. And so they asked me to apply, and I applied and went through the whole process, all of the interviews, and ended up they offered me the position. And so I immediately accepted. From the second I, started talking to Amy and talking to Bill, they were so warm, welcoming, excited to meet me, excited to help me, wanted me to learn, always kept their promises. I think Bill and I had talked the first day and he had told me, he was like, I'm going to try to get you on this Puerto Rico trip. And sure enough, I did. And it was the most influential internship I could have ever had. And I've just learned so much. So that's kind of how I got here. So
there are so many questions here that I'm trying to address that I think would be beneficial for everyone. And one of the things that, I really see and hear that I'm happy to address is really a question from Jordan is, what do interns do or include in their application to really stand out to recruiters? And I think that's something that as any candidate at any stage in your life, whether you're looking at an intern or, you're 10, 15 years down the road, I would say that as a program manager, there are always things that I look for when it comes to hiring, when it comes to an intern. And for me, there are two things that are very separate, but they're very intrinsic of each other. And that is the ability and the willingness. And so really, if you're equipping yourself with those two things, you can see it on a resume if someone is, willing and able to do different things, whether they're basing it upon, different projects that they're involved within, or, different things within your journey altogether. But it's, for me, that's really what stands out. It's not for me about a photo on a resume. It's not about having the most up-to-date Canva, done resume. For me, it's really just kind of about the meat and potatoes of it when it comes down to whom you are and what you're presenting about yourself. So I hope that answers that a little bit. If that does help you. I know that's kind of long-winded, but in case that answers a question for you. I'm seeing a couple more questions pop up here, all surrounding business analytics. We do have a couple of business analytics opportunities, all of them of which are very, very different from each other. They all sit within different parts of our business. Obviously, business analytics for us, a couple of those opportunities that are open right now our IT. So it's very similar role that Joey was in. We are looking for an IT audit intern. And so they are looking for someone who does have a core within business analytics and data science, management information systems, really kind of looking towards those. Jared asked just a really great question, question more directed towards Joey. What kind of skills did you learn during your internship, specifically your cybersecurity type project?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually typing out my answer on that. So,
I
no, you're fine. I'll just answer it here. Definitely. So like I kind of said, my job was mainly focused on auditing the IT systems that were already put into place. So we learned how to use Alteryx, which is a huge programming tool. I got a very, I guess, consider myself a novice in that. The project that I mainly worked on was the cloud security audit, which actually worked a ton with the Amazon AWS environment, which is really cool because the cloud is the future, and a lot of different companies are mainly using the cloud. So I learned how to work through a lot of the different programs and learn how to use them. And then more of like just the businessy side of it is creating work papers. And honestly, a huge skill that I learned was being able to realize the questions that I needed to ask to ensure that we got the answers. So when we were working with these different tools, I needed to think, okay, what kind of questions do I need to ask the individuals that are actually using the tools to make sure that they're being used effectively, and kind of dig in there and find any problems that there might be. So more of the businessy side of that. So it kind of incorporates both tech and business.
Great question. Great question. I see Allie typing out an answer here in the chat, but I want to give Rachel and Joey a chance to offer this as well. Really, what kind of opportunities for professional growth during the internship were you most grateful for?
For me, I think my professional growth was my manager was very willing to let me lead meetings, and that's something that I never experienced before. So it's all about taking a little bit of ownership and responsibility and just holding yourself accountable on leading cross-functional teams. I think that really helped me grow with my professional journey, and just, I guess, framing your questions is the thing that I learned the most. It's all really important how you communicate to different team members, because when you're talking to a developer, they may not understand what you may say to a designer, vice versa. So I think just holding yourself accountable on that and effective communication is what I've learned the most from that.
Yeah, and something for me is that we were involved in like everything that went on in the summer. So we got to sit in on financial meetings about the company. We got to sit on every single auditing team lead, and that's just for my department. So something that when we did our final intern presentation, something that I mentioned that I really liked was that we were completely incorporated in everything. There was not like, just because we were an intern, we didn't get to sit in on a certain meeting or find out about something like this. So that was really cool. We were really made to be felt like we were part of the company. And also bouncing off of what Rachel was saying, getting in those meetings and being able to lead them and ask those questions, it really just is cool to show that kind of what you're doing and work on that project to get the answers that you're looking for.
Yeah, for me, similar things. But specifically, I really enjoyed being able to network with everyone in the company. I was able to network with some heads of social media and ask them questions, a lot of informational interviews. And as an events intern, being on site was very influential because I was able to build those strong relationships with the executives and the district managers and all of the attendees. Most of them I ended up knowing by name, and they ended up knowing me by name and knew they could come to me, which as a hospitality management person, that is my favorite thing, is building those relationships. So that would definitely be my favorite professional growth in Signet right now, is having those connections.
Awesome. You all are asking so many just incredible questions, and I'm trying to keep up with it. Thank you all for sharing that, because I know obviously one of the things as a program manager where you may have some anxiety launching your own program is where you're really going to try to find those specific learning opportunities for professional and personal development. And one of the things that we had launched with our program was something called learning goals that we're going to be continuing with into this season as well. And so, you know, at Signet, we first and foremost believe that internships are that they're learning opportunities. And so the learning goals are actually a twofold process that we use that I think is unique for a lot of programs. And so what the learning goal entails is any intern who is starting with us, usually 30 days out, we ask that they submit their professional or personal learning goals. And what we then do is we take those learning goals that are submitted from our interns and we integrate them into the learning goals or the workforce planning that all of our managers of interns are doing. And so it's one of those ways where we're really able to incorporate not only the goals that are beneficial for our interns, but also ensuring that we're encapsulating that into your workforce plan. And so we offer a couple of different internship opportunities. I've seen this question a little bit in the chat. You know, what are those types? And so we do offer two, where we do offer a traditional summer internship, which is your 12 weeks, 40 hours a week, full-time hours. And then our secondary internship option is actually a year-round internship, which varies anywhere between 9 to 12 months, usually at part-time hours, usually at 20 hours a week. And so based on the requisition that you're applying for, each one of them does call that out specifically. I wish I could kind of rattle off for you, you know, what they were, you know, what they are, they're featuring for next year, or for this year, should I say. But if you are interested in any of the specific roles, it will lay that out for you in detail. What kind of positions open up for former interns following their time at Signet? Great question. So, you know, here we're really kind of talking about a conversion opportunity. And conversion is really something that's on the table. You know, with it being a newer program, our conversion rating is going to just keep growing and keep climbing. And especially with those early career programs that we're going to be offering, it's going to just keep escalating from there with some higher percentages. So it does happen. Oh my goodness. Is Way Up the best platform to apply for Signet opportunities? Yes. All of our opportunities are automatically pulled to Way Up. If you are interested in checking out a little bit more about Signet, our Way Up profile is an incredible place for you to, you know, gain a little bit more information. We have been certified as a great place to work company now for 3 years. I saw Brandon put that in there. Thank you for the chat. We have been certified as a great place to work now for 3 years in a row. We are a part of the Gender Bloomberg Equality Index. And there's just exponential growth here at Signet. When I started a year and a half ago, we had 9 companies under the Signet banner or brand, and now we're up to 11. And so it really just kind of keeps growing and climbing. What qualities do you look for? Do you look for someone? Okay, I'm trying to take all these questions in here as we go. If there's anything open for the team, I see Joey answering some questions in here. Joey, do you want to answer that live, or do you want to keep typing that?
Sure. Yeah, the independent question.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say that it's about 50-50. So like I said, even though you are in the online environment, you are working with a lot of different teams and meeting with a lot of different people, whether it's your manager or the person that you're paired with on your work, or, you know, someone from a completely different team. So you are meeting with them a lot, but then that other time is spent, you know, actually getting all of your work done. So I would say it's really almost 50-50. So it really allows you to still get that almost in-person experience with being able to talk with people online, but also have your own time to work.
For me, it was very similar. A lot of it is being assigned those tasks for the events team and having those weekly meetings that are already assigned. But you do have to be very diligent in your own work and, you know, push yourself to get those tasks done and not, you know, kind of just lay around and not do it, because if you do that, then you're not going to get your things done. So definitely having to be I guess the right word, I don't know the right word, but like pushing yourself to do it.
Yeah, so well, for the project that I was working on, I was the only intern in that team. So even though I was technically working independently, it didn't feel very independent in that sense, because everyone was so welcoming and I always had available resources around me. And if I had a question or wasn't sure about a specific term or a platform, there were always other people on different teams available to help me. So it didn't really feel like I was alone. And I also had my manager, her name's Marissa, and she's really great. She was very much of like a teacher for me and sort of like a guidance, but working collaboratively with other interns, with the other product management interns, I found it really helpful just in a way where it's like we were all on the same level of what needs to be more clear as far as like the projects that we're working on or certain tools that we're using. But it was like what Ali said, it's like pretty, you have to be pretty self-accountable in your own work and diligent in how you use your time and how you're using other people's time as well.
There have been so many just incredible questions, and that's kudos to every single participant on this call. I know I'm trying to answer all of the questions that can be answered, or share the questions, should I say, for our panelists here. We talked about professional growth. Does anyone have any other questions for our panelists, you know, kind of outside of direct related, you know, recruitment questions? I can answer those recruitment questions in case anyone has some direct questions on that. I've seen a couple pop up. Oh, I'm so sorry. I see this question in here. If you are looking at a job that looks like it has been closed, I'm glad that you have brought that to my attention, because I'll just have to look at refreshing something and then it'll be open really shortly. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'll make sure that that gets refreshed. What is the application process? Great question there. And so all of our requisitions kind of start the same way, where the first person that you talk to is me, actually. And so when it comes to, I should say, the requisition process, we keep it pretty quick for interns. I don't like anybody to be bogged down by multiple interviews. And so you're usually meeting with me for one interview. And then additionally, after that, you will get a chance to meet the hiring manager and maybe one other person. We try to keep it as slimmed down or as pared down as possible. Your students. I know that you have a million different things on your plate. And so really adding into that interview experience is not something I'm willing to put on your plate for that. This question is for every panelist. We have a question here from Tom. What was the greatest challenge that you faced in your role and how did you overcome it?
I think for me, it was if I didn't know how to do something or I didn't necessarily have the experience in that segment of the events industry, I would have to figure out how to do it. And so my manager a lot of times would let me do that. And so it was a lot of being willing to fail and being willing to adapt and figure it out on my own and then ask for help when needed. I had to do a project and it was basically building the expense database. And so taking all of the old expenses and bringing them into a new way that was easier for the events team to track and, you know, report and all of that stuff. And that took me the whole internship. And so that was a big, scary thing in the beginning. And now it's something that I'm extremely proud of that I have done and I know makes a difference for the events team.
A big challenge that I faced, I know I keep mentioning this cloud security audit, but like I said, we had 7 different tools that we were working with, and there was very little actual internal documentation on the tools. So what Signet was actually using the tools for. So I could go online and find these tools and kind of just get a baseline knowledge of what they were used for, but I couldn't actually see on like in the documentation what they were being used for in the Signet environment. So this required me to think of a lot of different questions to ask those that were directly working with the tools to make sure that I got a full understanding of what was happening. But it ended up being beneficial because it helped me to realize the different things to look for and also helped me to get more experience with communicating with other people.
I'd say my experience is pretty similar just because I feel like I maybe had a little bit of imposter syndrome just because I wasn't very familiar with some of the platforms we were using as a PM, like Jira. So for platforms like those, it was really just kind of speaking up for yourself and vocalizing that to your manager, because your manager is more than willing to help you and guide you on learning those tools. But also Signet has this one great learning opportunity with LinkedIn on LinkedIn Learning. And they suggested these different courses on becoming a PM. And so those really helped a lot. So I was able to learn more about Agile foundations, becoming a product owner, and product strategy.
Rachel, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. That's actually one perk available to all Signet employees, regardless if you're an intern or you're a full-time hire, is LinkedIn Learning. And so it is available to everyone, regardless, again, of where you're at within the company. If you, but it is something that I highly encourage anyone to kind of sink their hands into if you get the opportunity, because there is some really great course content on there. Rachel, there is a specific question for you in the chat. Did you get the opportunity to work with UX researchers during your internship? And if yes, how did you conduct user research?
So I never really got to work directly with the CX strategist at Signet. It was more so kind of sitting in on the meetings, and they would do like a product demo or showcasing a case study that they've done previously. I was able to get files and links to the user tests that they've done before, and just kind of gaining insights from them, and then working on the features that we need to create with the team. As far as conducting UX research, it was a lot more casual than I thought it would be. It wasn't very intense, but it was more so just on your own time doing benchmarking analysis and looking to our competitors and seeing what kind of features they have, they don't have, and how we can compare and contrast with our upcoming features for my summer project, specifically with the gifting journey.
Thank you, Rachel. One of the questions that I just saw pop up down here was, for example, if how does the company react to a mistake? For example, if you failed at a task, how does the company work with the intern to move forward from that? I don't know if anyone has a specific example to share. If not, I'm happy to kind of take that one.
I wouldn't say I have any specific examples, but I built a very good relationship with everyone in my team. And so I felt comfortable if I wasn't sure how something would go, or I was nervous about something, or worried about failing, or even if I just had a question that I thought was going to be a stupid one, they were willing to answer it. And if I messed up, they would, laugh along with me, and it was always okay. So Signet's definitely a company where you can learn.
I was just gonna say, I feel like Signet actually embraces failure and mistakes rather than frowning upon it. Because we're interns and they don't expect you to know everything and anything, especially from the very beginning. So if anything, they would rather you speak up and make a mistake, because then I think that's a more effective way of learning from it rather than just not knowing till the very end.
I had pretty much the same thing. I mean, the idea is, we're all interns and we don't have a whole lot of knowledge, so we're not expected to know how to do everything perfectly. So if you make a mistake, that's just part of it.
Yeah, and that is something that we truly believe at our core at Signet, is just that internships they are learning opportunities. And so if you are making a mistake daily, you know what that means? It means you're learning. And that's at the bottom line what an internship is supposed to do. So I don't necessarily look at a mistake as a bad thing. I look at it as an opportunity to either make an efficiency or to learn from something and move on. That's how anybody kind of gets to where they're going, is, kind of by going through all of that. I see a couple of questions in here. What is the best advice that you have for someone applying to an internship?
I would say be open to a lot of different opportunities. There is not just one job position that might fulfill your major that you're working with. There are a lot of different things that you can apply for. When I was applying for all of the internships I guess this was a year ago now, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. And I was just applying to a bunch of different ones just to see how it would work. And then when you get these different internships, you're able to gain that experience in that specific job role and kind of decide whether you like to do that or not. And it was something that I really enjoyed doing. And it's something that I'm actually going to be doing after graduation, which is exciting. So it really was a defining moment for me.
I would say the same as Joey. Kind of a funny story. Before applying, I only wanted to do like UX or product design internships, but this was a product management internship that I applied for, and I really had no experience, no knowledge in product management. But after applying and getting into it and learning from this internship, I've kind of like switched my career path into management now. And I think it's all because of Signet's guidance and my experience here. So I would just say be open to any roles that are out there, because even if it may be similar or not similar at all to what you're looking for, because you can really learn so much and like a new skill set from those.
Yeah, for me, I knew I wanted to do events, and I have experience in country clubs and wineries and wedding events, but I'd never had an experience in corporate events. And so fortunately, finding this opportunity, it really secured for me that that's what I'm passionate about and that's what I want to do. So just this whole summer really reaffirmed that for me with Signet.
Awesome. Someone was asking how many internship opportunities are available. We are hiring up to anywhere between 40 to 46 internships this year. So no, it's a great question. You kind of want to understand what the environment will be like. And so the roles that are active or posted right now are not the only roles that are available. Some may have expired and they just need to be reposted probably end of day or tomorrow. But we do have multiple opportunities across the board in IT, in digital, in supply chain, in HR as well. I don't remember if I said HR as well, but we are looking for some specific HR opportunities. I see a lot in the chat going about that within talent acquisition and one in HR operations and diversity as well. So if diversity, inclusion, and belonging is something that is of interest to you, it is something that we are actively recruiting for. Oh, Chris, I just saw your question pop up. If you apply for more than one internship, will the system block you? No, we do not do that. You can apply for any internship that you feel that may meet what you're looking for. Apply to 1 to 4 to 6, however many you feel. If you've applied for previous opportunities, are you permitted to apply again? Kyra, yes, please apply again. Do all of your internships last for 9 to 12? Yes. Okay. So Daniela, this is a great question. I'm happy to answer it again. All of our internships vary. And so we offer 2 different types of internships. One is the one that you were referencing, part-time hours over the course of 9 to 12 months. The secondary one is a summer internship where it is full-time hours over the course of 12 weeks. So your typical summer internship. Rachel, Joey, and Allie, all on our roundtable, were all summer interns. The part-time year-round one for us is not our most popular option, but it does exist for us, primarily within our digital organization and IT. Those tend to be the roles for us that are somewhat longer in tenure based upon the role. So like a CX researcher or a UX researcher, those are all longer opportunities for us, if that helps. No? All right. Well, thank you, panelists, again for hopping on today and sharing, frankly, about your experience here at Signet. Again, for all questions that we weren't able to address live today, you will be hearing from me directly because there are some brilliant questions that I would love to answer and get to know you all regarding on that. But if you are looking for specific information on any of our internships, they are currently posted on Way Up. In addition, all of our early career program opportunities will be live either January 20th or January 23rd. If you're not seeing it yet, just click refresh. Chances are it's getting pulled over. But all of those opportunities, again, for our early career programs are within HR, supply chain, finance, and digital. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Take care.